like, I can pinpoint like the most painful experience of my life. It was, I think, my second night in hospital, I think. And they kept trying to get me to eat more because I was on really heavy pain medication. I had to eat and I just didn't have any appetite whatsoever. So they, kept kind of pushing me to eat. My boyfriend Brian was pushing me to eat, the nurse was pushing me to eat. So for dinner I had mushroom soup and some chicken salad, I think. And I didn't eat that much of it, but I ate as much as I possibly could. And then at like 5 a.m. I was yakking. I can't even like explain how bad that is to throw up. Like when you throw up, your whole body heaves, and my whole body was heaving with a broken sternum. Like my voice as well was really, really soft. I couldn't speak loud because it hurt to speak loud. So I was trying to yell out for a nurse. I couldn't reach my buzzer button, and yeah, it was really, really messy and not good. And poor nurse is like cleaning me up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm just crying and like, it was really bad. So there's a few experiences that just weren't good. Hi loves! I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today I'm going to be talking about the surgery I had in November 2018. If you haven't seen my other video talking about pectus excavatum, which is a chest wall deformity, I'll link it below. But basically it's where your sternum goes inwards, basically. The cartilage grows downwards, pulling everything down. It can sometimes be noticeable when you're a child, it's like quite young. But either way, regardless of whether it's noticeable when you're young or not, it does become most prominent when you're going through puberty. So like around that, like between 12 and 14, when it's like the most rapid bone growth, that's when it becomes the most noticeable. So I didn't notice it when I was a kid, although one of my friends did point it out in the bathroom once when we were getting changed after swimming, and she said like, what's wrong with your chest? And at the time I didn't really notice anything, so I just disregarded it. I didn't really care, and my mum never was suspicious either of anything. So it didn't become apparent until I was probably around like 13. And so I'll show you the scar. So it's not very noticeable, but it's here. It's healed really well. So basically, this part here, with the deepest bit, where the wire would meet on a bra, that never touched me. It was about 5 centimeters away from me. So, like having a big dip in my chest, I also have kind of like a slouch because it pulled everything forward. So like my posture, my shoulders, like my bone structure, everything kind of went forward, I guess. So a few people would comment when I was around like 14, 15 that my posture was really bad, and it was, and it's still not great, but that's why. And also because it was my chest area and I was young and like shy about that kind of stuff at that age and awkward, I would hunch a little bit as well to try to hide it, because if I popped out my chest like and stood up straight, the dent was just more noticeable. So it started to become pretty apparent around 13, and it kept getting deeper, but because it's quite center, I didn't realize it was a problem. Also, just want to address the pandemic at the moment. It's happening in the world, it's happening everywhere. Yeah, I'm spreading love, good vibes, positivity. I really hope everybody's being as safe and vigilant as you can possibly be in this time of uncertainty. And please just know that I love you all, and I hope you're all doing okay. I know this is a really scary time, but I really, really hope you're doing okay, and you all have my love. So pectus excavatum is a chest wall deformity. It's usually about 1 in 600 and about 3 times more common in men, and it's usually genetic. I don't know anyone in my family who has it, and I'm not a guy, So for my body to like develop this was pretty unlikely, but it happened. I always hid it. I always wore like high neck things. I never wore bikinis. I never let anybody see me like just wearing a bra or anything. Sorry my skin's so bad, by the way. Yeah, it's breaking out really bad, and I tried to cover it with foundation, so I was putting makeup on too often, and then it just made it so much worse, so now it's like really bad. So I'm sorry that it's bad, but I don't want to keep putting foundation on it because it's just making it worse, and I've got sensitive skin. So I'm just gonna put up with this for now, sorry. My cardiologist though, when I told her that I'd been diagnosed with pectus excavatum, she said that it is very rare that it causes any problems or anything and that it'll be fine. And then it's when my doctor wanted me to get the x-ray that we actually saw that it was pressing on my heart. So it was pressing my heart against my spine. So the surgery wasn't like urgent or anything because like it's my bone structure, it's already set, it's not going to get worse. But it was believed to have been able to help me. So the surgery was very much encouraged, but it wasn't urgent. And if I really wanted to, I could just not get it, but the recovery for it is much worse as you get older. My doctors and the cardiothoracic surgeon as well really believed that I would benefit from the surgery because it was bordering on severe and it would relieve that pressure from my heart and lungs. It wasn't until I was about 18 and I was wearing a shirt that had a slit in the middle. I tried it on in the change rooms. I was with my sister. And when I came out with it on, she said, "Oh, what's wrong with your chest? It's like caved in." And I just brushed it off. I said, "I don't know, it's always been like that." So I knew that there was a physical like thing, but I didn't know it was a medical problem. I just thought that was my structure, that's just how I was built. And because it was very symmetrical as well, it was like right in the center, it wasn't really concerning to me, whereas some forms of the condition could be more like off-center, which would make it more obvious that it's not just your growth, like it's something's not right. So then my sister mentioned it to my mum, and I finally showed her, and my mum and sister just pull up their shirts, and like where the wire meets in the bra is flat against their chest, and where mine is at least 5 centimeters away. So there's just like a big scoop. I'll insert photos here. My friend as well, my other friend, had also pointed out what she thought it might be, because I think she just looked up dent in chest, and so she'd sent me like information on it before, so I kind of had a rough idea, but when I finally went to a doctor, he confirmed it, so it was nice to have it like, I guess, confirmed, so I had an answer, like it wasn't just me being a strange shape, it was actually a condition. So I went and saw a cardiothoracic surgeon. After a few consultations, it was agreed that surgery would be the best option. And during this time, I was at university. I was doing a major in psychology and society and a minor in English and cultural studies. And as the surgery came up, it was towards the very end of my final year in uni, and I was studying heaps, but it was interrupted a lot because of appointments. And then the surgery actually got moved up. I think it was a week or 2 weeks earlier than supposed to be. So I finished off uni, but it was very interrupted. Basically how they do it is they cut a big incision, about a maybe 7 centimeter incision? 7? Like something like that. They cut that incision, and then I had 2 drains here. They break the sternum, and then they apply a lot of pressure. They break it with a saw. That's the very first thing I asked when I was in recovery. I said, how did you break my sternum? They said they do it with a saw. And basically with the condition, the sternum is deformed sort of, so it's kind of like bent, like it's not a normal sternum. So they break it and they saw like a little wedge out of it and then apply a lot of pressure so that it's straight. But in the process of that, they also remove all the cartilage that's growing downwards. So it's a pretty intense operation. I had 2 drains after, so one drain, I'll insert photos as well so you can see, put them here. So I had 2 drains, one goes near my heart, one went near my heart, and one went near my lungs. And that's basically just because when you're healing from something like a surgery or injury or anything like that, your body naturally is going to build up like fluid and try to protect that area. And because, you know, they didn't want fluid on my lungs or heart or anything, they had to connect a drain. They had to connect a drain to my heart and a drain to my lungs, like just to the area near them to collect it, like to collect all the fluid. So at first the fluid is really like red and very bloody, and then the longer you have the drains in, like it goes more of like a pale color, like almost watered down blood. And I think it was 60 mil that it had to be below before they would take it out, 40 or 60. And my drains ended up being in for a really long time. Usually drains are in for just a few days. I had one drain in for 8 days and the other one in for 13. So everywhere I had to go, I had this green canvas bag with my drains in it. So I'd have to have it on my shoulder like this with my drains, and I couldn't walk very far. But that's what I did. Funny story really, that was on my, I think it was 3rd night in hospital. I was only in hospital for like 4 nights. Silver Chain just came to my house to like check my drains and like dress everything, and yeah, so the nurses came to my home. But yeah, there was this guy in the room across from me and he'd had the same operation as me. So we were both just like hobbling around, and like my walk for the day would be up from one end of the ward to the other. It was probably only like maybe 60 meters or something. It wasn't very far. And like my first walk, I'd have like this trolley pushing my drains. I had my pee bag on it. I had my catheters, like my cannulas, I think it's called, the one in your wrist. Like I had all of these like tubes and everything connected to me, and I'm just pushing this little trolley like a little old lady down the hall. And it was like such a big achievement, and I'm just like pushing it around and carrying my pee bag and my drains and all these things that I was connected to. But that's alright, I can laugh at it now. At the time it was pretty hectic, but I can laugh at it now. The nurses and everything were really good at the hospital. I had a towel, so I'm just going to use my gym towel as an example. Don't worry, it's clean. I had a towel taped like this, and everywhere I went, I had to walk like this. Like I had to walk hugging this towel. It's like if I was carrying my bag with my drains in it or pushing my trolley, I'd use one arm, and the other one I'd be hugging this towel because I had to hug it to apply pressure to keep the bones together. How horrible does that sound? But I mean, because you can't have a cast or anything on that part of your body, so I just had to hug it like this. And whenever I went in the car as well, my seatbelt would go across this. The drive home from the hospital was so painful. Every single bump in the road I felt. But I do feel like my pain tolerance has gotten a lot better since that operation as well. In the end, it was okay. So that's basically how the surgery went. I was in hospital for 4 days. It's not too bad. My mum and I actually had to swap rooms for a couple months because my bed was too low, so I couldn't get to it. I couldn't get up or get down into it, and I had to sleep on my back for 3 months. But I couldn't be like completely directly on my back because then I couldn't breathe because it was just too much pressure. Like it felt like something was sitting on my chest. So I had to have the pillows propped up like just right. There's a lot of things that like I thought I would do. I took like my DS and some books with me and some colouring in and all these things like to the hospital, and things that I thought I would do when I got home as well. But I didn't do anything. I literally just slept so much. And leading up to the surgery, actually a couple weeks before, when I knew the surgery was coming up, I bought myself a Game Boy because I thought, if I have to go through with this, like, I want a Game Boy. I've wanted one for a long time. I deserve a Game Boy. So it's sitting in this little SpongeBob bag that I've had for years, but I absolutely love it. And I thought I would play it. I bought some games for it as well. I thought I would play it while I was recovering. I don't think I touched it once. All my DS, all my colouring, all my books, my drawing, nothing. I was exhausted. I was on a lot of heavy pain medication. No, not a good time. Though I got really frustrated after a month or so because I wanted to be able to go out and do things. Like even just go to the shops, go to a supermarket, just something. I wanted to be able to leave the house. So Mum and I would go out and I just have to sit down like every 10 minutes, like 10-15 minutes. So I was really slow around the shop and everything, but that's okay. We got there in the end. Overall it was like the experience was hectic but worth it in the end, I think. If you have this condition or you know anyone that has it, the recovery is brutal, but I mean it's pretty self-explanatory as well. You're having your sternum broken so that it can be repositioned, and they remove the cartilage. Oh, another thing actually, while I mentioned that, I could see my heartbeat. So like my chest here, I could see it like raise like that with every beat. And I was too scared to tell the nurse, and my sister was with me, and I said, is that normal? And she got the nurse and said, why can we see that? And she said basically because they'd removed the cartilage here, there was no protective layer. So when just my pulse, you could actually see it. Like I know sometimes you can see it like slightly in people's neck, but you could actually see it here. Like if I laid still, you could just see each like pulsating motion. And then she just kind of laughed and said, don't play any contact sports. My boyfriend Ryan came and saw me every day, so it was really good. Also because I was on the cardiothoracic ward, it's a really small ward, we had like nap time. We had nap time between 1 and 3. So basically you couldn't have any visitors. If you did, they had to step out for 2 hours. The nurses would come around, they'd close all the blinds and make sure you were comfortable, and you had to sleep or just rest for this 2 hours. And my body got into that routine. So even when I came home, I'd find myself falling asleep around like 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I had afternoon naps. Another thing, my sister put my niece's baby monitor in the room with me. So I was in my mum's room. My sister put the baby monitor in there just so that I could call out if I needed anything. I didn't use it, but you know, just thought that counts. My mum was up with me a lot. The painkillers were really strong, and it was basically like clockwork. Like I could take them every 4 to 6 hours, and sure enough, like I would need them like in that time frame as well. Like if I took them just before bed, I would wake up again about 4 hours later, just in a lot of pain. So yeah, it was painful, but it went well and everything. The surgery being moved up was probably a good thing actually, because it was supposed to be the 8th of December. It ended up being the 23rd of November. And I was still very unwell around Christmas time. And I think that if the surgery had actually been on the 8th of December, that would have been much, much worse. Yeah, so I would have been very unwell for Christmas. I didn't get anywhere near as much of my Christmas shopping done as I wanted to. Everybody was understanding, of course, but like I felt bad because I wanted to do good things for people for Christmas, get them nice gifts. For Ryan, I got him a wallet and I filled it with IOUs. Just like with the IOUs of things that I wanted to get him, but I just couldn't get to the shops to get him. Yeah, the surgery being moved up really did mess with a lot of my planning, and that when uni finally finished, I wanted to go to the beach. I wanted to see friends because, you know, final exams and everything, you just don't get time to do that. And a lot of time as well had been taken up with appointments. So there was a lot that I wanted to do, and all my Christmas shopping. I wanted to do all my Christmas shopping, catch up with friends, go to the beach, like just have some really fun times before the surgery. And then because it got moved up, suddenly I didn't get to do that. But I think it worked out for the best, and I've recovered really well. It cracks sometimes. I don't know if that's normal or not. Like, it's like, you know how there was always that weird kid in school who like broke their arm and then they could crack it on demand, like their wrist or something? I don't know, it kind of does that. I can't control when it happens though. It's just like when I stretch up or anything, it just kind of cracks, like crunches. But aside from that, it's good. I still have like a little bit of a dent, but like a little bit, but it is much better than it was, and I'm really happy with it. I just wanted to share this because it is something that isn't as common in girls, and I was very insecure about this for a very long time. So I think by sharing this, it might help for a girl or a guy, really, like regardless. If you're struggling, if you're very self-conscious about it or something, just to know that like it's a condition, you know, own it. There's nothing embarrassing about it, and I just wish I could go back and tell myself that. Like, I used to get changed in the showers at school for sport so that none of the other girls would see, and that's so stupid thinking back. Like, it's not like I could help this, but like I felt like it was just my fault and that I had to hide it, and I'd get changed in the showers. And even on like free dress days, which wasn't that often, I'd be wearing like really high neck things. I'd just be hiding it at all costs, even in like the summer. And it wasn't until years later, when I was probably around like 19 or so, where I just became confident with it. Like, this is my body, this is who I am. So if this video helps even one person, then it'll all be worth it. Thank you for listening to my story. I really hope it wasn't too much rambling or ranting. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. You subscribe to me, I'll subscribe to you. Small YouTubers gotta stick together. Alright, thank you. Bye guys, love you.